The RCX3-SMU is a dedicated speed monitoring unit for the RCX340 controller that controls robots with 3 or more axes. When the unit detects that the robot has exceeded speed or area limits, or receives a safety input from an external device, the unit can shut off the main power supply to the controller, switching it to safety mode. This video gives an overview of the speed monitoring unit. The RCX3-SMU is designed for use with robots of models with 3 or more axis configurations, and which are compatible with the RCX340 controller. This unit is not designed for use with 1 or 2 axis robots or auxiliary axes. Also, the robots shown in the image cannot be used with RCX-SMU. Cartesian robots using the Phaser series linear motor robots, dual robots and double carriage robots. Robots using axes without coordinate attributes, robots with separate single axes separately placed without stacked robot axes, robots stacked on our axis. This is the system configuration diagram. To use the RCX3-SMU, please purchase the RCX340S controller, which is compatible with the SMU. The only programming box compatible with the RCX3-SMU is the PBXE. A safety device for connecting to the SMU must be procured separately. You must use the RCX Studio 2020 support software for the RCX340 controller to configure the SMU. See the video for instructions on how to use RCX Studio 2020. These are the names of the components of the RCX3-SMU. Use the AC in connector to input a 200V power source to the SMU, and use the AC out connector to output power to the RCX340S controller. The indicators on the top right of the front panel of the RCX3-SMU change as follows. The status LED lights up to indicate that monitoring is being performed normally after the system starts up. The alarm LED lights up when an alarm occurs, and blinks when the device is in safety mode. The beat LED blinks while the system is operating. These are the names of the components of the RCX340S controller. A resolver branch box has been added to the existing RCX340 controller, which splits the position signals from each axis of the robot and outputs them to the SMU. These tables list the safety features which are added when using the RCX3-SMU. STO is a feature that uses a main power cutoff circuit to shut off the main power supply to the controller and switch to safety mode. Safety mode is a state in which the main power supply to the robot is shut off due to an emergency stop or protective stop. When the cause of the emergency is removed, such as by releasing the emergency stop switch or by closing the safety fence, the main power supply to the RCX340 will automatically resume. Note that the robot does not automatically restart, so alarm reset and servo on operations are required to restart the robot. SS1R/T is a Category 1 safety stop feature as defined by IEC 602041. After the robot's motion slows and then stops for all axes, the previously mentioned STO is executed, switching the unit to safety mode. If the robot state deviates from the specified parameters during deceleration stop, an STO is executed in this case as well to switch to safety mode. Speed monitoring is a safety function that monitors the robot's operating speed. When the robot's speed exceeds the speed set in the parameters, the SS1R/T is executed and the unit enters safety mode. By default, this is always enabled in manual mode as well as when the robot has not returned to origin in automatic mode. Area monitoring monitors the robot's XY coordinate position or the motor pulse position of each robot axis, and when this leaves the set area, SS1R/T is executed to switch to safety mode. The PBXE emergency stop switch is a safety feature that monitors the emergency stop switch status of the programming box. When it detects that the emergency stop switch of the PBXE has been pressed, it executes SS1R/T and switches to safety mode. The PBXE enable switch is a safety feature that monitors the status of the enable switch on the programming box. When it detects that the enable switch of the PBXE is not in center position while in manual mode, it executes SS1R/T and switches to safety mode. The safety input is a safety function that monitors the input status from an external safety device. Each of the safety input fields will be explained later. The safety output is a safety function that is used when status output is required from the speed monitoring unit of an external safety device. The RCX3-SMU status is output from emergency stop mode, safety mode, operable status and automatic mode status. This block diagram shows the relationships between the safety features. When the unit exits safety mode based on the respective safety inputs, deceleration stop is monitored by SS1, and when the operation falls outside of the parameters, the main power supply is shut off by STO. A safety I/O connector hookup is required to use the safety features based on the safety inputs from external safety devices. This is the pin configuration of the safety I/O connector. The inputs and outputs for safety I/O are redundant, to allow failure detection to be diagnosed. The wiring for A1 to A6 are required safety inputs, and correspond to emergency stop and mode select for safety input. A7 to A14 are general purpose safety inputs, and correspond to manual mode protective stop, automatic mode protective stop, automatic mode speed monitoring, and area monitoring of the safety inputs. A15 to A18 are general purpose safety outputs, and correspond to safety outputs to external safety devices. This is a PNP specification wiring example for a Category 3 compliant system. The external safety devices wired include an external emergency stop button, external mode selection switch, external enable switch, safety fence and safety PLC. In this part, we will explain each of the safety input fields. The safety input, emergency stop, is a safety feature that monitors the input status from an external emergency stop switch or from other sources. When the safety input detects that the contact point is open for the emergency stop input of the safety I/O connector, it executes SS1R/T and switches to safety mode. The safety input, mode select, is a safety feature that switches between operation modes according to the input from an external mode select switch or the like, as well as monitors its status. When the contact of the automatic mode input is closed and the contact of the manual mode input is opened, automatic mode is selected. Conversely, when the contact of the automatic mode input is opened and the contact of the manual mode input is closed, manual mode is selected. When the operation mode changes, SS1R/T is executed and the unit switches to safety mode. The safety input, manual mode protection stop, is a safety function used for performing a protection stop at any time during manual mode. When the safety input, mode select, detects that the contact is open in for the input assigned to the safety I/O connector when in manual mode, it executes SS1R/T and switches to safety mode. The safety input, automatic mode protection stop, is a safety function used for performing a protection stop at any time during automatic mode. When the safety input, mode select, detects that the contact is open in for the input assigned to the safety I/O connector when in automatic mode, it executes SS1R/T and switches to safety mode. The safety input, automatic mode speed monitoring, is a safety function that monitors the signal status and enables or disables speed monitoring when in automatic mode. If an open contact is detected on the input assigned to the safety I/O connector, the speed monitoring function described above is enabled. The safety input, area monitoring, is a safety function that monitors the signal status and enables or disables area monitoring when the user performs area monitoring. If an open contact is detected on the input assigned to the safety I/O connector, area monitoring is enabled. The external safety device may output test and self-diagnostic pulses. The RCX3-SMU has a filter function to prevent these test pulses from being interpreted as changes in the input level. For external devices that output test pulses, only devices that meet all of the following conditions can be connected to the RCX3-SMU. 1. Test pulse width W, ms, is W less than or equal to 10, ms. 2. Test pulse period T, ms, is T greater than or equal to 2 times W plus 1, ms. External devices that do not meet both of these conditions cannot be connected, because the RCX3-SMU will assume that the safety input has been switched on and off and will malfunction. That is all for the overview of the speed monitoring unit.